Well, we put this off long enough. I've tried all that I know to try, so now all we gotta do is accept it and change the alternator. What's up, y'all? Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome to the video. Welcome to the channel. Like I said, we're just gonna have to accept this. It's the alternator. We gotta change it. I've done all I can do. I thought we may have fixed it yesterday though, with a pretty simple fix that I felt pretty stupid about for a little bit. But we had the battery checked once before and they said it was good. So I came out yesterday and the battery tender showed a red light. So it meant the battery was dead. And so I was like, well, let's check that again. So I took it back to the store and they said something killed it. So I thought, well, maybe the battery was just like trying to fail and it wasn't getting good voltage or whatever. So we got a new battery, brought that home, we fired the car up and it was holding 14 volts pretty steadily. And I was like, was that seriously the issue the whole time, was the battery? But after about 5 minutes and it got warmed up, it was doing the voltage bouncing. It was all over the place on the gauge. It was trying to die, all that kind of stuff. So we just got to accept it's the alternator and fix it. So we can't do it on the ground though. Got to get it up in the air. But there is one more thing I want to check though on the alternator. We did replace all those cables and upgraded all that stuff. So I want to check the connections on the back of the alternator and make sure it's getting a good one. There's a nut on there. I want to make sure that's tight because that would be fantastic if that's all it is a loose connection. But I want to check that before we do any of the major work here. So we'll get it up in the air. We'll check that, get it on the stands and start the work. Okay, back up in the air. It's been a little bit, but it feels like we never left. All right, rolling up under here, and here is the alternator. There's the two connections right there, the one with the boot and the little plug-in itself, if you can see that up in there. So the one with the boot is the one I'm gonna check to make sure it's tight, because the adjustable tensioner we have has vibrated loose a couple times, so I guess it is possible that it could have vibrated loose. So we'll check that, make sure it's tight. Hopefully, I mean, cross my fingers that this is the only issue and there's a bad connection, but it's gonna be kind of hard to show you, but that's what we're gonna be doing. Before we get started, everything back here in the trunk on the battery is unhooked, the circuit breaker is kicked, and the ground is off the battery, so we should be good to go on working on electrical jazz. And before you ask, yes, I'm missing a wheel on this little thing. It is a pain in the ass to roll around, but it's all I got right now. Oh man, I've got my fingers, toes, everything crossed.
Do you?
This is just loose. Oh my God. This thing is so loose. Can you hear that? I'm gonna take the mic and put it up there. Hear that? That is almost off the stud. I'm pretty sure that the boot was holding the nut on there. Holy shit. Oh my God, if this is the only thing that this is, I'm gonna be so pumped. Oh my goodness, that's gonna be so good if this is it. Oh man, hi, my name is Ryan, and occasionally I like to make things way harder than they need to be. Does this wrench get up in there? It does. All right, let's go fire this thing up and see if that fixed it, because if it did, I'm gonna be one happy fella. You know, it was funny at first. I kept thinking, like, it's getting worse. Like, it just seems like the car's running worse and worse and worse. Like, is the alternator going that bad, that fast? But then, of course, that makes sense because the nut is just in there just flopping around and it's getting a bad connection. So, of course, it's getting worse because the nut came off. So, yeah. Oh, my God. Just start simple, I guess. Look at that. Now we're back to doing this again at idle, which I feel like that's not what it should be doing either. So maybe the alternator is going bad? I'm gonna keep digging here. Whew, well, I put the multimeter on the alternator itself as it was running, and it was showing 13.6, 13.7 pretty steadily. So I'm like, okay, but I did burn the absolute shit out of my arm on the downpipe, so I'm gonna go inside, run some cold water on this real fast, and then we'll come back out and do some more testing. So I started this thing back up again, and it's still just idling kind of funny. Like the idling kind of cuts out here and there. The voltage is kind of dropping around, And so I think I'm just gonna change the alternator. We already have it here, we might as well do it. I mean, it's gonna be a pain in the ass, but I just think I'm gonna go back to OEM. I'm gonna put the auto tensioner back on there. I just don't trust myself with this adjustable tensioner to have it right all the time. It does vibrate loose sometimes. Those nuts, no matter how tight I put them on there, that thing, they still vibrate loose. So I just don't want to think about it anymore. So I'm gonna put the auto stuff back on there, and hopefully that'll fix it. If not, then we have an electrical issue, I guess. I don't know, but we will figure it out. So I was doing some reading last night, and I think I'm gonna check one last thing here before we dive in. I know I keep saying that, and I keep like pushing it off and pushing it off, but I just don't want to do all the work to change the alternator if I don't have to, or if I do all that and it's still doing the same issue, then it's not gonna help us any. There's just a lot of things that's not lining up the way it should for an alternator, I feel like. Doing the multimeter is showing the same voltage as the battery in the trunk. There's no dash lights on, nothing like that would say the alternator. I don't know. It's just something, there's just something about it that's not lining up how I feel like it should be to say like that's an alternator. So we're gonna check the IACV, the idle control valve. I definitely did not clean that when I put it back in the car whenever we were rebuilding everything. So it probably has a bunch of like grime and soot on it and all that kind of stuff. So we will clean that. We'll see what that does. And then if we're still having the issue, then we'll swap the alternator and do the work and just see if it still does it. And if it does, then I will have to decide what we're gonna do then, because I feel like we are chasing a gremlin right now. And I don't know, you know, I don't know anything about like trying to trace out this stuff in the electrical part of things. So yeah, we'll have to decide what we're gonna do after that. But yeah, we'll go with the IACV first and see what that does. And being as we have the Skunk 2 throttle body and intake manifold and all that, the IACV is right there under the intercooler piping, right about here. I put in all these new shop lights. I got them hanging everywhere, new bulbs for brightness, all that kind of stuff. And the one spot that we have to actually do the work is still pretty dark. Which, not like it matters a whole bunch anyways, because it's kind of hard to show you this as it is. So I'm gonna just get this thing out of here, and then we will take a look and see how dirty it is, get it cleaned up, and get it back on the vehicle, hopefully. And it will fix this thing, because, like I said, I'm running out of ideas. Fudge. I will never find that. Ugh. One of these tiny little fellas just dropped down into the engine bay. This is worse than a 10 millimeter, so cross your fingers I can find this thing. I cannot find this friggin' screw anywhere. I have no idea where it went. I used my little endoscope, went all down into the subframe. It's not under the steering rack, it's not under the engine mounts, nothing like that. It just apparently vanished in like a 4-foot radius. It vanished somewhere into the ether. I have no idea where it went. So that's unfortunate. I can't even tighten down the IACV anymore because I don't have all the hardware. So I'm gonna keep digging and see if I can find it, but At any rate, here is the IACV, and it doesn't really look, all that bad, to be honest. It's not like gooped up with stuff, but I'm gonna go ahead and clean it anyway. Focus. I'm gonna go ahead and clean it anyway, and we'll see what it does. But I doubt it's gonna do much, because like I said, this is not like all that bad, it looks like to me, but who knows. My neighbor happened to have this kit of like little tiny bolts. That thing was an M4 and 8 millimeters long, and he happened to have one. Super random, but it does thread in, it does fit, so I'm gonna go ahead and install the IACV. Okay, we got the thing cleaned out. Like I said, I just used some throttle body cleaner, and we used that, and I did put it back in. And now let's just start the car up and see if it runs better, if it starts better, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so that felt like it was running better. I don't know, like I forgot to hit record to start it, but it fired right up. Like I didn't need to hit the gas, nothing like that. It just started, and it hadn't done that in quite a while. So I don't know. I'm gonna wait and see if that was a fluke. I'm gonna try to start it again in a minute and see if it does fire up again like that, super easy. But that seemed like it done something, because it was running a little bit better. The voltage seemed a little bit more stable. It was still kind of like moving around, bouncing around, but I don't expect it to be 14 the entire time, unless I'm just not thinking that's how it's supposed to be, but it shouldn't be 14 the entire time, should it? Because that alternator, from what I've understand and have read and all that stuff, is it operates off of the RPM, so it's not going to give its full like thing while it's sitting there idling, so it at least looked more stable to me. And when I hit the gas, it was like going to 14 and staying there. It wasn't like bouncing all over the place, which it was doing earlier. So I don't want to say that was the fix just yet, but that seemed to help something. So yeah, I'm gonna wait a minute, we'll fire it up again and see if it does anything else, and yeah, go from there. I am god awful, but I forgot to hit record again when I started it up, but that time it had, like, it fired right up again, but it did have like a little second there where like the voltage was like all over the place and it was kind of like struggling to idle, but it was already hot, so maybe that has something to do with it, I don't know, but it seemed to fire up just fine. Like, that's 2 starts in a row where I haven't had to hit the gas, and that, if you have been following along or you know the story, it hasn't been that way for quite a while, so maybe that was it, I don't know. I don't think I want to call it 100% yet, but I am going to end this video here because it seems like it done something. So I'm going to wait a couple days and we're going to start it up again and see if it still starts that easily. And we'll take it for a drive. It's supposed to rain for the next, like, I don't even know how long, but the next chance we get, we'll take it out for a drive and see if it will run better and all that stuff, because it was not running well at all. It wouldn't even get to the top of the driveway without trying to die. So if we can get at least past that far, we've done a lot better. So yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'm going to keep reading and stuff as well. I want to do some more reading and some more talking to people. You guys have been super helpful on Instagram. I've been sharing all these kind of stories and stuff there, and you guys have been so helpful. I really appreciate that, giving me all kinds of advice and things to look for and stuff like that, because like I said, I have no idea when it comes to electrical gremlins, and this is a big head scratcher for me, and so I really appreciate all your guys' help. And so I'm going to do some more reading, do some more contacting some people and stuff like that, and we'll see what we can do. But as of right now, it seems like it's running a little bit better, so we'll see if it stays that way or it's just a fluke. So if you got this far, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it very much. As always, drop a comment down below if you guys have any suggestions or whatever. I am more than open to hear them, so yeah, catch you next time. Bye.